Artificial intelligence. We're all familiar with it by now. It's giving us tools to create things we never thought we were going to be able to. It's filling our timelines and search engines with complete nonsense, but most importantly, it's taken our jobs. I want to see if an MLB GM is one of those jobs that should be worried about AI.
I originally tried to conduct this experiment using ChatGPT, but I ran into a few problems. First off, ChatGPT pulls all of its sports knowledge from 2022. So a lot of the trades are outdated, and when I tried to change up the wording to get different results, it just gave me very vague answers. So I had no choice but to go to Instagram and use Meta AI. And at first I encountered some of the same problems that I did with ChatGPT. Meta seems to also be pulling a lot of their information from 2022. As you can see in this mock trade, none of the players in the trade are actually on the teams that the AI is saying they are on. But I kind of messed around with what I could ask the AI, and I figured out that if you ask them who should the blank team trade for in 2024, it gives you a semi-realistic answer with players that are actually on the correct teams.
So I compiled all of the valid responses from Instagram's AI, and I decided to focus on just the first offer or first player that was given as a trade target, because a lot of teams had a different number of players given. I thought it was most fair if I just took the first one. And to make it watchable, I decided to make this a tier list.
Let's start things off in the NL Central, because nobody ever starts in the NL Central. I asked Meta AI, who should the Cubs trade for in 2024? And it said, Elias Diaz. Elias Diaz is my favorite catcher that will probably be traded this year. And if the Cubs are looking to win now, this would be a great trade, as Diaz is a much better catcher than Amaya or Nido. But I don't think the Cubs are contenders this year. They may be sellers. And they have a number 5 prospect in Moises Ballesteros, who may be their catcher of the future. I don't like this trade, but it makes sense somewhat, so I'm giving it a D. Instagram's AI said a good trade for the Milwaukee Brewers would be Eric Fetty. The Brewers have just acquired Dallas Keuchel and Aaron Savali. They are top of the division in the NL Central, but are in desperate need for some starting pitching. And in 2024, Eric Fetty is much better than Savali or Keuchel. Fetty has already amassed 3.8 WAR this year and has used his 4-pitch mix masterfully to avoid the barrel of the bat. I like Fetty a lot, and I think this would have been a way better move for the Brewers. B tier. Now on to the Reds. The AI suggests trading for JD Martinez. I think the Reds are sneaky contenders and they may look to buy. But I also think the Mets are kind of in that same category. JD can still hit, as his OPS is over 850 this year, and I'm sure the Reds would love to have him, but I don't see this trade happening. D. The trade suggestion for the Pittsburgh Pirates was Carlos Santana. I get that Rowdy Tellez has been bad, but I don't really see this happening at all. I mean, the Pirates just traded Carlos Santana away last year, but he has been pretty good in Minnesota, and actually Minnesota has been pretty good because of him. I don't see them trading him. And this is what the AI suggested for the rest of the Pirates trades, which at first I thought was a list of players they should have traded away in 2022, but they also have players on their roster right now. And also 2 Santanas and 2 Fraziers, so I'm a little confused. F. And for the last team in the NL Central, St. Louis Cardinal. Instagram suggested Jesus Luzardo, which I think is a little weird because I definitely think the Cardinals are sellers this year. But Luzardo is locked up until 2027, and he's not having the best year. His ERA is actually 5. So maybe contenders stay away and the Cardinals swoop in and they get their guy, who can add some much needed youth to the rotation. It's definitely a long shot, but I don't actually hate it. C. Now starting out the AL West with a team that used to be in the NL Central, the AI suggests that the Houston Astros trade for Pete Alonso. The Astros have a definite need for a first baseman after they DFA'd Jose Abreu this year, and they are right in that wild card hunt. Unfortunately, so are the Mets, and I don't think the Mets are going to want to trade Alonso. But if they do, Houston is a very intriguing landing spot. B tier. Also, all the other trade targets the AI gave me for the Astros were Braves minor leaguers, so make of that as you will. Maybe Kyle Tucker is a Brave. We're talking artificial intelligence here. It knows. Now the division leaders, Seattle Mariners, and their trade target, Pablo Lopez. This one's kind of befuddling, as the Mariners have one of the strongest rotations in the MLB right now. Why would they go ahead and give a lot of prospects for an ace, especially from a team that's probably not selling? The Mariners definitely have bigger needs, and the Twins are not trading Pablo Lopez. F. Now we got the sad Oakland A's. Instagram thinks they should trade Paul Blackburn, and I think so too. You got 1.5 years of control on his contract left. I think it's a perfect time to try to get something while you can get something, if you can get something for him. I don't know, he's got an ERA over 4, trade him. I'll give an A to the A's. Now on to the defending World Series champs. The Rangers should trade for Adam Henrique from the Anaheim Ducks. The Texas Rangers should trade for Jordan Montgomery, the big lefty that was just on their team last year. Montgomery signed that big contract with Arizona in the offseason. I think Texas is looking like they dodged a bullet, as Montgomery's been a negative 1.2 WAR player this year so far. I don't think there's any teams looking to trade for Montgomery right now. F. Now on to the only team without a circular logo in the division. Never mind, that's much better. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And they should trade Tyler Anderson. And I couldn't agree more with the AI on this one. The Angels have one of the worst farm systems, and they need to get some value for Tyler Anderson while they can. He's got a year and a half left on his contract, but it's a poor pitching market this year. They need to trade him now. I'm going to be stingy with the S grades, but this is getting one. And you may notice that the AI said that the Angels would trade for Tyler Anderson. For some reason, it just doesn't have any concept of teams trading away players. So every time that it names a player that's already on the team, I just assumed that meant that they're trading them away and not trading for. I'm just giving the computer the benefit of the doubt here. Now we'll jump over to the leaders in the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians. The AI suggests that they trade for Bo Bichette. And as a Guardians fan, I would love for this to happen. He's not having his best season at the plate, and the AI calls him an elite defender, which he is clearly not. But what he is a star shortstop. I do think the Guardians have bigger needs, especially starting pitching, but please do something, Guardians. Just get a good starting pitcher. But for Bo, A. And I'll have you know that the Guardians were the only team that the AI only suggested a single trade for a single player. Maybe that means something. Next up, we got the Minnesota Twins, and their trade target was Anthony DeSclafani. At first, I thought this trade was odd, but then it became more odd when I discovered that Anthony DeSclafani was already on the Twins and is on their 60-day IL. I expected the AI to project the Twins as buyers. As of right now, they have a wild card spot, and even if they were to sell, Anthony DeSclafani would probably not even be available as he's injured. So weird, bad trade, F. Next up, the Royals of Kansas City, and their AI selected trade is David Bednar. Look, he's not having the best season. His ERA is over 5, but he's still a quality closer, and I don't think the Royals bullpen is their strong suit at all. They'll definitely look to improve that as they make a push for October, and they have a wild card spot right now, so I think they will be buyers. Bednar is under control for a few more years, so that would be great for a young team that may be a year or two away from competing for real. But the Pirates are kind of in that same boat. Are they going to really consider trading Bednar? We'll see. The Detroit Tigers had started off hot, but they've trailed off a little bit, and the AI expects them to be sellers, specifically of Andrew Chafin. Yeah, and sure, I mean, he's a veteran reliever, he'll be a rental. Definitely think he could be traded if there's interest for him. He might be the clearest trade candidate on the Tigers if they do sell. A. And then we got the White Sox, and the AI's got them trading their young star, Garrett Crochet. If I'm the White Sox, I'm definitely considering cashing in on Crochet right now and getting as many prospects as possible for the rebuild. That being said, he is still a young pitcher and he's under control until 2027, so you don't have to trade him. But there's been lots of rumors, so I think this is pretty spot on. A. Now on to the NL East, we got the Braves, and Meta thinks they should trade for Miguel Andujar. This is quite the modest trade for the Braves, but that tends to be how they do business during the season. I think of guys like Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, and Robbie Grossman as platoon outfielders that the Braves have traded for in the past. And Andujar could definitely be a platoon bat. He's batting .467 against lefties this year with an OPS above 1,000. This could be the perfect guy to platoon Kelenic or Forrest Wall with. I'm very impressed with the AI here. S. Next up, we got the Phillies, and the rumor is Harrison Bader. I guess he's an offensive upgrade over Johan Rojas, but I kind of like giving Rojas that time to develop into a major leaguer. But the Phillies are trying to win now, so I guess it makes sense. And the other thing is, Bader's on the Mets. I don't know how many Mets-Phillies trades really happen, so it kind of seems unlikely to me. C. Speaking of the Mets, the AI says they should trade for Shane Bieber. Yeah, so he's most definitely out for the year, and his contract expires at the end of the year, so there's no scenario that Shane Bieber's being traded at all. F. And the Miami Marlins should trade for Luis Robert Jr. What the? I mean, he is under contract for a while, and maybe the Marlins, get him now and improve, but they got no business being buyers. I don't like this trade at all for them. F. And the Nationals, they should trade for Tyler Anderson. The AI already said that the Angels are trading Tyler Anderson, so I guess the Nationals are getting him. And I think the Nationals should probably be sellers. They're a couple years away from being contenders in my opinion. Tyler Anderson is under contract for another year, but do the Nationals really want to pay another lefty big money right now? D tier. Now in the wild NL West, we got the runaway favorites, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the pick for them is Bo Bichette. I like it. I mean, Too bad the Guardians already got him, but acquiring a shortstop means that you can move Mookie Betts back out into the outfield where he is a better defender, and the Dodgers are definitely not afraid to go all in on the trade market. This honestly seems kind of likely. A. Next up, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the AI thinks they'll be sellers trading away Jordan Montgomery. Yeah, and like I said before, I would too. He kind of is bad, but the problem here is you got to find a team that wants to trade for him. C. Now on to the San Diego Padres, and the AI thinks they should trade Austin Davis. I tend to think that I know ball. I have never heard of Austin Davis until I started making this video. He's kind of like a below average lefty reliever veteran 31-year-old. Yeah, honestly, if you can trade him, but what are you going to get? Cash considerations? C. And now on to the Colorado Rockies, and they should trade Austin Gomer. Gomer's been around for a while, and he's been holding it down in Colorado. And if you could do it there, you could do it anywhere. He's an average pitcher, but he will be valuable on this trade market, as there's not a lot of starters available in 2024. And the Rockies have been rumored to be taking offers on him, so I kind of like this. A. And now the San Francisco Giants, and their trade target is Luis Robert Jr. I mean, this is definitely a better landing spot than the Marlins, but the Giants aren't necessarily contenders at all either. And on top of that, they already have some young outfielders in Ramos and Matos. But the Giants are a good organization, and it makes sense for them to go get Robert because they'll be contending sooner rather than later. I don't know though, just doesn't seem likely. D tier. And now finally onto the AL East, we have the Orioles, and they should trade for Kenley Jansen. Yep, the Orioles are contenders, and they need bullpen guys with Felix Bautista being out. Kenley Jansen's going to be one of the best bullpen arms on the market. He's a veteran. He's been in the playoffs before. I like this a lot. A. The next team I asked about was the New York Yankees, and they should trade for Luis Rengifo. I've seen a lot of people wanting their teams to get Rengifo, but I think he's kind of a fraud. He's batting .300, but his expected batting average is only .270. I just don't think he has the plate discipline to be a .300 hitter, and he doesn't provide much pop either. But the Yankees do need a second baseman, so maybe this makes sense. B tier. Also, this is the entire list for Yankees trade targets it gave me, and it's mostly players on different teams that they would be trading for, but then they listed Caleb Ferguson as a right-handed strikeout specialist. He's a lefty that's already on their team. I don't know what the AI was cooking with that one. Rays have had an uncharacteristically bad year this year, and their AI selected trade target is to trade away Shane Baz. Rays might be selling this year, and matter of fact, they've already traded Aaron Savali, but there is a long list of players I would trade before I get to Shane Baz. First things first, he's still very young, but also he's at the low point of his value. This does not seem very Rays-like at all. F. And for the Boston Red Sox, the AI says to trade for Nick Ahmed. Red Sox fans, y'all are cool with David Hamilton now, right? I know there was a lot of hate towards him at the beginning of the season, but I'm pretty sure he's like doing good now. I know he's not a lights out defender, but Nick Ahmed is not a good hitter, and David Hamilton's pretty good. All in all, I think Hamilton's a better player, and Ahmed's older. So maybe late inning defensive replacement shortstop, but I don't think a team that's a few pieces away from contending is going to go out and trade for a backup shortstop. Could happen, but I'm not amazed. D. And for our last team, we got a doozy. The Toronto Blue Jays should trade for Shohei Ohtani. Oh, why didn't they just think of this in the first place? Instead of trading away all their good players, why don't they just trade for Ohtani? It's really that simple, and they're World Series favorites now. This is great. S tier.
So would you hire an AI to be the GM of your favorite team? I personally wouldn't, but if you're an Angels fan, it might be a good option. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe. I'm gonna do an outro.
Boleh.